All right, welcome back to another episode of BOACast. I have producer Duke with me, and today we're talking K-pop Demon Hunters. I've seen it. He's seen it. A few of our friends have seen it. We all have different opinions. But let's go. Before we get too far in, I want to give a quick summary for parents or the curious. So here's what we got. K-pop Demon Hunters is a story about three K-pop stars, Korean pop, for parents who aren't familiar, who are also able to banish demons back to the underworld. As they gather attention from their fans, it strengthens a barrier that's between the human world and the demon world, and they are close to sealing that barrier forever, keeping the demons out of the world. The demons' plan is to send their own K-pop group to steal the attention of the fans, weaken the barrier, and consume the souls of people. Some have called this a Christian story. It's not. It has a strong Eastern influence in it. The view of demons is very different. Some of the demons are humans who were tricked into sin and then shamed into continuing in their sin. The main themes are around how we can be controlled by shame and how accepting your mistakes or innate qualities can allow you to move forward and live a better life. There are reasons to be opposed to this. There are reasons where it's a good story. And I think producer Duke and I are about to jump into it. So, you have anything to say before we do the opening here?
I will say I'd heard some positive things about some of the messaging here, especially as a dad of daughters. There's a lot of positive messaging about learning to not let shame control you, not let shame be like how shame works in our lives. And I think that that's something that our culture does not do a good job of right now, of teaching people what they should be ashamed of and what they should not be ashamed of. I'll put it that way. Because I think there are valuable things as far as running around naked in the street probably should be a shameful thing. But there's other things like people don't like me. People think poorly of me when I'm not around. They talk about me behind my back. Things like that. These ideas, I think you see that in the movie. And I think that it does a good job of addressing some of those issues.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, one thing that I think is really interesting, I was talking to somebody about the difference between guilt and shame in a completely different context. But this person laid out for me that her definition of these things is that guilt is feeling bad for something you can control and should have done better, right? A change you need to make, a behavior you should adjust, etc. But shame is the internalized toxic version of it. So in her conception of it, shame is always negative. And that is not something that I had processed that way, right? I had kind of processed that sometimes you need to be a little bit ashamed in order to change.
I think it's complicated because of the way our language doesn't really, I don't think it captures it properly. I do see what her point is because I've heard something similar, basically that guilt is saying things about, I did this thing, I feel bad about it. And shame is more, I am this thing and I feel bad about who I am or that I am. Like, shame deals with identity, guilt deals with actions.
Exactly. And you can definitely internalize guilt and turn it into shame for sure. That was
like they talk about
powerful
like
piece of her
publicly
point.
shaming somebody. Someone's walking down the street, like that classic image of like shame, like that is dealing with you are worthless as a person. Like your identity is deserving of shame because of something that you had done.
Yeah.
And there does need to be a disconnect there because I do believe human beings, we have worth no matter what we've done. That doesn't have to be our identity. That doesn't have to be, we are not defined necessarily by our worst decisions, our worst actions. We
Yeah.
don't have to be, at least. We get to choose that, I should say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it's not always easy to choose. Sometimes our psychology plays in, or in fact, something else plays in to perpetuate the shame because it allows for control over us. You know, yeah. Anyway, well, let's start off with the opening. I'm going to say here, we will be spoiling the ending later on because it's worth talking about. And it may be a deciding factor for whether or not you want to let your kids watch this. I have let my oldest watch it. I will not be letting my youngest watch it. That this is, you know, yeah, there's some definite interesting moving parts here. But yeah, so there's your spoiler warning. Let's jump into the opening, and keep in mind that the movie is Kpop Demon Hunters, and so it's all about the music. It's the K-pop. It's the very sugary, if you will, the very easy to digest.
It is a K-pop musical first and foremost.
Yes,
I feel like that is something that they did. Except I often tell people, like, is it The Godfather? No, it's not this. It's not an amazing deep art film.
Yeah.
However, does it do what it set out to do
very
exceedingly well? I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
The fact that they were able to write these songs that all charted on the top 100, like the entire album. This is like unprecedented to see a soundtrack for a movie or a musical chart at this level. It's really remarkable, and I find it fascinating from just a business standpoint of how this is all played out. But there was one point, I think it's not that way now, but at one point there was 3 of the songs were in the top 5 in the Billboard 100, and that was like 3 months after its release or something like that. Like it's done
very well.
To write songs that are independently hit songs. Like I think it's so funny that this Golden is a huge hit in the movie world, actually became a huge hit in our world.
Yeah.
Like, when does that ever happen in a story where, like, the story element is like playing out in real life in the same way? I think that's so funny sometimes. But that the thing that they did that really surprised me, and that's something I really enjoyed watching it, is each of the songs fits into the story the same way you would expect in a normal musical.
Yeah.
They all are about what's happening in the story, about what the characters are experiencing in the story, or advancing the plot in some way. And
I agree.
To do that where it fits seamlessly into the story, none of the songs are like, oh, I guess we're doing another song now. Like, it all fits in what's happening. It all feels like it fits seamlessly into the story. And the music is really enjoyable. Like, that's the thing that really we came away with. The first time we watched it, that was what we came away with. It's like, it was a fine movie. It had some good messages, and the music was great. And then that music just digs a hole in your brain and just sits there for a while and lives there rent-free for the rest of the summer. And you just keep going back to it. It just keeps kind of dragging you back in.
Yeah.
And so we've seen it several times in our house, I think.
Yeah.
Like half a dozen at least. It's kind of become a fun go-to comfort thing. We're just like, oh, we just put something on in the background.
Yeah. Well, for us, it came up during the soccer season here. And my oldest was saying, hey, can I watch it? Can I watch it? Can I watch it? And I said, well, tell me what it's about. And he described it to me. And the way he described it to me, I was like, oh man, that sounds like feminist nonsense. So I had one of his friends describe it to me, and his friend described it to me. And I went, oh, really? Is this something we really want to watch? But he wore me down and kind of convinced me, hey, let's check it out. My friends say it's really, really great. I said, all right, here's the deal. We'll watch it, but I reserve the right to turn off the TV at any time for any reason without explaining myself to you. And he said, you know what? I'll take that. And it was a fun ride. I got to say, it was a fun ride. But so the opening. In the opening, they're prepping for a big show, and the 3 main characters And of course, I should have written them down. It's Rumi,
Mira, and
Mira
Zoe.
and Zoe. Yeah, exactly. So Rumi, Mira, and Zoe, they're all on a private jet on their way to the show, or so they think. And they find out, oh, wait a second. Our clocks are wrong. We're supposed to already be on stage. And so they look at the private jet staff and find out, oh, these are not people. They look like people, but they are in fact demons that are trying to stop us from having our show because we keep making the barrier between Earth and the demon realm stronger. So they've tricked us. The show has already started and we're disappointing all of our fans right now. Let's go. And they get in a big fight on an airplane. The plane breaks up. They jump off the airplane. They fall down with a couple of the demons, land on the stage, and perform their song. And this opening had me laughing because parts of it are so girly. And so just an excerpt from this song. Heels, nails, blade, mascara, fit check for my napalm era. Need to beat my face, make it cute and savage. Mirror, mirror on my phone, who's the baddest? Us, hello. Really fun.
It's such a fun moment, though.
It's such a fun moment.
It just works.
But
it sounds weird when you say it like that, but it works.
It gave me involuntary shivers. It like giggly shivers. Like, it's so girly. I'm uncomfortable, but it's funny. So it was a good moment. And I'm sure with daughters, the experience of that would be different than sitting there just probably. A couple of guys.
I'll touch on that in a second because I just wanted to say I saw in an interview with EJ, who wrote the music and performed Rumi's voice, that she has a writing partner and they were working on this, and she was kind of like and like kind of just going like, okay, riffing a little bit. It's like fit check for my name and era, and like she kind of was like wasn't sure what to say, but I think it should be era basically. And the guy's like, did you just say napalm era? And she's like, yes. I don't think, what's napalm? And
what's napalm?
Like, that sounds so iconic. And they just went with it. And it kind of has been. Like, I've heard a lot of things. Like, that's the one that resonates with my daughters quite a bit because they think it's kind of funny. Like, it's a similar thing. When I thought maybe it was like a Gen Z thing I wasn't privy to or something. And I asked my daughter about it. She's like, I don't even know what napalm is either. Like, I thought maybe it was some kind of inside joke, but they just think it sounds like the guy said, iconic. It stands out because you're like, what? Like that's interesting. It's kind of a weird thing to say, but
yeah, kind of hot. I was going to say too, kind of hot thing to say.
So since you brought up that moment, there's a really great. This is one of the things I love is attention to detail in movie making. I found this on like a reel. I did not take credit for figuring this out. So in that scene, Rumi is doing her mascara and stuff and pulls out this little shell-shaped pocket mirror and does her thing and then kind of like throws it aside. And it's like flying through the air for the rest of that sequence. Later on, they've been in a fight and they are all scarred up and beat up or they have bruises. And their manager shows up, Bobby, and they're like, oh, quick, we got to cover it. So they pull out their makeup things and quick, like cover up their faces. The two girls both have purple shell ones that match Rumi's. Rumi has a black one because her purple one
is missing.
Disappeared into the sky at the beginning of the film.
That's excellent.
And that's such a small thing. And it's it's a tiny little thing and they did not have to do it, but it just shows how intentional, we talked about this previously, the importance of intentionality in storytelling and movie making. And it shows that they are paying attention to those little details, that everything that they're doing is very intentional.
Yep. Yeah, it's fun.
We'll go back to what you were saying.
Well, yeah, I mean, that was about what I was going to do here with the opening song. It's really fun. It's girly. It's goofy. There's some interesting rhymes and you get a feel for what's going to be happening. Right. So you have, Each of the three ladies have different personalities about how they perform, and so you also get that as well. One of them is a rapper. All three of them sing, but you kind of have your
Yeah.
dancer, your rapper, and then the melodic vocalist
Yes.
who
Although
can
they
who has
all
a
do
wild
dance and
range.
they all do rap and they all do sing, but they do have specialties, it
Yeah.
seems.
Well, do they all rap?
Well,
I don't know if
Rumi
Rumi
is rapping
raps.
when she jumps off the plane.
Fair. Okay. Whatever. Because
That's
I
a
know.
actually, I've tried to even sing what she's saying there, and it's very hard to even keep up with the rap. Yeah.
Yeah.
The rap in that moment is really hard. It's really hard to try to sing along to a song that randomly interjects Korean into the song.
Yes. Yes.
Like, I don't know how to pronounce any of this.
Mm-hmm. That is another thing they do. They mix in, the movies in English. But for us in this area, the movies in English, but they do mix in Korean, and that's kind of
typical
fun
K-pop,
flavor,
as I understand it.
Yep, fun flavor. Well, in K-pop, they're often mixing in English, not mixing in Korean. Yeah,
it depends how international the band is, because
true.
The international ones, they are English with Korean more mixed in. I was thinking of like Psy with Gangnam Style. Like that's a good example of a mix, because that was a huge hit. And there's a lot of it is in Korean, a lot of it is in English. It's about half.
Very true. Very true.
60-40 maybe. But like Twice has a song on the soundtrack that I believe is completely in English. I don't think there's any Korean in that song that they have in the soundtrack. So
yeah, I was kind of just joking around with you a little bit there, but yes, I agree. The mixture is pretty normal.
I'm saying it for people who aren't familiar with K-pop. That's a common thing. They have a mixture of English and Korean.
Well, anyway,
especially for more international acts.
So during this opening, we learn that the demons can look like humans, but we don't know much about them. And we pretty soon end up in the demon realm with them trying to figure out, what are we going to do? They've almost sealed this barrier and we'll never be able to escape. And what we see is that some of the demons are these horrible creatures that can shapeshift. And some of the demons look like people who have been malformed and mutated. And what we learn here is that some of the demons are in fact humans who became demons because of their activities in their life. So this is one where, when people say, hey, this is a Christian story, there's a pretty big variance there. That's not a Christian take on how any of this works. But there's some tie-ins later to ways you can think about.
There's an interesting element, because I would differentiate between Christian and biblically Christian.
Mm-hmm. Okay, say more.
The idea of, like, Dante's Inferno is a Christian-based story, but it is not biblically tied to a lot of things.
Sure.
There's a lot of things like the devil with the horns. That imagery is not from Scripture.
Right.
There are a lot of things, the vision of God or angels in a lot of classic art. Those are obviously Christian, but there's not a lot of that is not informed from biblical text. Similarly, the idea that one can sell their soul to the devil in exchange for wealth, material goods, fame, beauty, success. It's a recurring theme in many parts of literature.
True.
No basis in Scripture. However, I feel that is an inspiration for what happened with Genu and his story.
Yep.
Because it's more than just, like, he actually exchanged something for something with this demon.
Yep.
That led to him becoming a demon. It wasn't just his activity. It was part of a deal he made. So there's this like deal with the devil element, which you could argue, like I said, there's similarities if it's not drawn directly from Christianity. There's like this idea in Christian thought of a deal with the devil.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's again
Making a
not
bargain.
biblically sound. It is not
Yep.
biblically sound,
Yep.
but it is something that exists and is born from Christian fiction. We'll say Christian literature.
Yeah, that's a valid challenge. I like that. I like that characterization too. It's true because it is. Um, it seems like it's a portion of the beings that are there.
Yes.
Were that, and a portion of them
Yes.
were much either completely distinct or much further down the line of being deformed and
Yes.
otherwise consumed by the evil that they were constantly exposed to.
I would guess that they have an idea of how that works and why, and how, like which percentage of the demons are demons. Are they all humans that have gone? And some of them are just so far gone from humanity that they're unrecognizable, whatever. Like,
Yep.
I'm sure they know. They haven't explored that. That does not come up in this movie.
Yep.
They probably will dive more into the demonology mythos in their universe in future films, because they are definitely doing sequels.
Yeah. After this level of success, it's something that I think they need to do. Just how are they going to get around it?
It's going to be a very complicated process, but we'll see. Just because of the way the rights are assigned right now, it's a messy thing. But we'll talk about that later.
Yeah. So Genu, which one is it? Genu. So Genu, in the question about like how are we going to handle this, there is this relatively attractive, relatively to the other ones, demon named Genu, who proposes, hey, what if, right now they're consolidating their power by gathering all the attention of all these people. And so what if we attempted to challenge them by getting attention of our own? And then the question is, well, how would you do that? Well, we'd put together our own group. And so they put together a K-pop boy band and send it up to Earth in order to make this challenge. And originally, the big bad evil thinks it's a silly idea, but he goes along with it. And so that's kind of how we get introduced to the concept of this other K-pop boy band, and their first song and what they mean by it. So, should we just jump into Soda Pop?
Sure.
Cool. So,
just pop the top.
Yeah, pop the top. Another funny moment is that Huntrix, the girl band, they run into these guys before they perform, and at first they're caught by how completely attractive the boys are. And then they realize that they're demons, and then the demons perform, and because they're in public and everyone's paying attention to the demons, the girls feel like they cannot attack them in that moment, right? And so a lot of this story is about attention. A lot of this story is about what you pay attention to and how paying attention to something gives it power. And that I think is really fascinating. But they perform this song called Soda Pop. So I made a comment about it being kind of sickly sweet or extra sweet, referencing in part Soda Pop itself. I'm curious, what do you want to say about Soda Pop?
I think it's just a fun song, honestly. I don't know how much depth you want to mine out of it. I think part of it is supposed to be a commentary on again, the saccharine nature of a lot of pop music.
Yes.
It's very superficial and very sweet, very appealing to your ear, but isn't necessarily like a lot of depth.
Yeah.
But it's a fun song. It's a lot of fun to sing along to. It's great to see like the reactions from the band versus the crowd.
Hmm.
The part where they turn the whole thing like this pastel pink, like the whole town just changes color.
Yep.
It just feels like fun and like fantastical.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
and you're right. There is something to like we're gonna confront you out in the open, and you can't do anything
Right.
about it.
Exactly.
That's kind of this interesting deviousness to it.
So let me add on a lot of respect for this song. Um, if you've realized this, you'll just go, oh yeah, right. But one thing that this song is about the demons consuming the souls of people, right? So I've waited so long for a taste of soda. The wait is over, baby. Come and fill me up. I can't get enough. And this isn't just imagery, and I'm not just pulling it out. In an interview about this, um, the director commented that part of this song, was it the director or the writer? We're going to devour you. We're going to eat you up. We're going to drink you up because that's what the demons do. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So soda pop is about your soul is so sweet. Give us your attention and we will consume your soul. And
Right.
that is really interesting because it is definitely there for you to see the symbolism and understand what's going on. And it is also covered up by all of these sweet, poppy, fun moments, etc. And there's intentionality there in how it was made. But the message shifts entirely when you realize this is the
Right.
demons saying, "Ooh, come to us. We're going to eat you up."
Which which I think this movie does a really great job with. Several of the songs are like that, where there's kind of a double meaning
Hmm.
to it. Obviously, like Your Idol to some degree. This song, as you pointed out, I feel like Takedown is really interesting because it can be about. I mean, we'll get to that later probably, but it's about the. It's written about the Saja boys, but it's really about. It's also about Rumi.
Hmm.
Golden is written about Rumi with like pining for a future where she can be free of this thing. But it's also like if you listen to it from the perspective of her after the movie, it fits that too.
Hmm.
So there's a lot of things that's like there's a lot of extra meaning. Like it's surprisingly lyrically flexible and deep.
Yeah,
I
it's
feel
great
like
attention to detail, and it's amazing how you can make those things fit together when you know what the story is before you read the song.
yeah,
Right? It's because you can harken back and you can realize, takedown the song "Takedown" that we haven't gotten to yet, and I didn't have a whole lot of notes about "Takedown." It really plays 3 or 4 functions within the film. There,
yeah,
there's a lot of moving parts to Takedown, and it's just as lyrically, it's a fun song. It's intense, um, but then it's so layered with meaning in the lyrics in a way that's not readily evident until you see what's going on, and then the desire to change the
mhm,
lyrics, um, and what that means and how it looks and how there's a turnabout there.
right.
I wasn't planning to ruin that twist for anybody, um, for how those things go.
That's fine.
So yeah,
We'll
that one's
keep
that
going.
one's fun.
Let's
Takedown's fun. Well, do we skip Golden, or do you have things you want to talk about with Golden?
Well, I think Golden is interesting because for people who didn't know the plot, like I'd kind of seen a thing about it before I let my girls watch it, so I knew a little bit about the big twist.
Mhm.
But I've seen reaction videos of people watching it for the first time, and they did not know this that Rumi is going to have this secret like that. And I think
Mhm.
we should probably like mention. spoilers or whatever at this point. But
Yes. Spoilers. We will leave a couple of things unmentioned, but the big twist does matter. And so we will be talking
this is an
about
early
that.
on twist. There are other things that we will want to that are more important to the story, but this is like a central part of the story is that Rumi is actually secretly like half demon. We're told through parentage. We don't know exactly the story. All we have is one person's word, and that person is not shown to be a very trustworthy person. So maybe that's not the case. Maybe we'll find that out in later movies, I'm sure. But for whatever reason, she has half demon, half human. And so she's fighting these demons, but she's also fighting like her own demons that are represented by these patterns that appear on her skin that the demons also have on their skin. But there's some really interesting elements to that too, because she never is affected by Gima, the head demon. Jinyu actually comments on like, "Oh, don't you hear his voice in your head?" And she not only does she not then, she never does. Like he never gains influence over her, which I think is interesting. I'm not sure.
Yep.
I think they'll explore that again later on too, like what that was about, why she was unaffected.
Yep.
By when Gima's kind of released onto the world, he has power over everyone. He has sway over everyone except for her.
Yep.
It may literally just be because she's got that demon heritage, because he does seem to have the same kind of control over the demons as he does over the humans, interestingly enough.
Yeah. Well, they seem to be kind of in a trance, and she's able to snap out of it. But that's later.
When they're being entranced, she's off on her own. I mean,
on her own. Yep.
I should point out Celine, her adoptive mother, is also not affected. Seemingly not affected by this voice.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, yeah, and this actually, I like that you're mentioning this differentiation. So like I said, there's a lot of this movie is about shame, right? And so Jinyu has shame, and the thing that led him to becoming a demon was an action that he took, but he's incredibly ashamed of it, and he is controlled by Gima continuously reminding him of the horrible thing that he did and magnifying it and magnifying it and magnifying it in his mind so that he can't possibly escape. And it's a really interesting parallel to sin, guilt, shame here, in the real world when we're not in cartoon world, right? Of how easy it is for us to be controlled by shame. And how we can say, oh, I didn't take an action I should have taken. I took an action I shouldn't have taken. Or I don't want to be the way that I am, but I can't change it, right? And so those are all really deeply shameful, difficult to navigate things. But if you wallow in that shame and you don't figure out how to work your way through it, it can control you. And I think there's also a spiritual element there. If you're a person that believes that there's a spiritual world, being reminded continuously of your mistakes, having that devil in your ear, whether you want to take that literally or figuratively, having that constant reminder of you're not worth it, you're not worthy, you're not able, they wouldn't love you, and using true things about you to justify that in order to control you. That's a very real thing, and people do it to each other. But yeah.
Well, that's something I found really interesting about how they represented that in the story. To jump ahead slightly, is when they're getting the voices in their head of Gima speaking to them, shaming them, pointing out their deepest fears, telling them that they're true. They dub over his voice with the actor's voice. So the actors who the characters hear their own voice in their head, like we listen to our own thoughts
Exactly.
in our own voice typically.
Exactly.
And so they don't even recognize that that's what's happening to them, because to them it's just they're just spiraling on their own thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
And that is something that happens to us. I think everyone experiences that at some point, where you just caught in some sort of shame spiral, or some sort of something bad happens and another thing bad happens, and you're like, well, if those two things are true, then this is also probably true. This other thing that I'm deeply insecure about, and no one really likes me. If they did, they'd come and help me move, or they come and do this thing that, like, whatever. Like, no one came to my party, and you just add on all these other things that you're insecure about.
Yeah.
And you're on your own. You don't even need any help with. But
yeah, you're just stacking evidence. You've already decided what the result is, and you just stack evidence. And then the evidence helps you convince yourself of the continued thing. So you just stay caught. Anyway, this is a really good illustration of that. So Jinu is absolutely trapped by guilt and shame for behaviors. And Rumi is trapped by shame for something that she didn't control, right? She didn't pick her parents. And she has been advised to hide this, because being both a demon hunter and a demon at the same time is not allowed. Right?
Well, they specifically are taught by Celine, they recite it multiple times, our faults and fears must never be seen.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And they even touch on, like, I know that's what we were taught. This is even before the big, like, before her friends even find out what's going on.
Yeah.
They're like, I know that's what we've been told, but I feel like with you guys, I can be seen. I don't have to hide these parts of me that other people have found too abrasive, or these insecurities I have about not being enough or being too much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think that's interesting timing that they had that right before the big performance or whatever.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That they are already catching on to, I think it's okay for our faults and fears to be seen by at least by some people. Maybe not everyone. Maybe we don't need to share that with every single person, but people who are trustworthy and who care about us, it's okay to be vulnerable and be open with them about who we are and what we're afraid to share.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
I guess touching back on double meanings, the Golden song also has, of course, it's about the golden Hanmoon, which is what they've been striving to do.
Mm-hmm. The Hanmoon being the barrier, right? I've been using the word barrier. Right. But yeah, yes. Exactly. I'm trying to make it understandable when people watch the summary, because
no, totally.
But yeah, I love it. Yeah, I mean, Golden's lyrics are really fun, relating back to the story, and then there's the before part of the story and the after part of the story. And to me, Golden was much less meaningful when they first performed it than after I understood more of what was going on in the story. Yes. So I'm sure if I went back and watched this movie a second time, which I don't really watch movies twice usually, but could happen, I think I'd get a lot more out of it. So, yeah.
There's a lot of movies like that. I was just watching, I was just talking with my wife about Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. Is one of my favorite movies. And there's a lot of, you need to watch that movie at least twice.
Yeah.
Because until you know the context of what's happening later on in the story, there's a lot of things that happen at the beginning of the movie that you just do not understand what's going on.
Yeah.
Like, there's some movies like that where you need to see them at least 2 or 3 times to really kind of get what's happening and fully appreciate it.
Yeah. All right. Well, skipping forward a little bit here, things happen. And this is where I don't want...
This is where Takedown enters into the story a little bit.
Correct.
I think they need to write a song to beat the boy band.
Yes.
And that's, like you said, like I was after rewatching it, I was really surprised to realize just how much of the movie features Takedown. Like there's
Yes.
actually like a good 40 minutes or so where
Yeah, they're
it's like
going back and
starting from when
forth.
they started writing it. They're writing it, they're working on it, they're coming back to it, there's performing. It's coming up in parts here and there.
Hmm.
They're struggling with the lyrics. There's a really profound moment here where Jinu and Rumi meet and speak face to face for the first time, where she's very standoffish with him, understandably. Um, he's discovered her secret at this point. That's something that comes up in this part of the story.
Yeah.
And he's very curious about this. But he says to her, uh, she says, "I hate all demons and I hate Gima." And he's like, "If hate could defeat Gima, I would have defeated him a long time ago." And I think that's one of the more profound moments in the story. And I think it really shifts her perspective in a lot of ways, because they come to understand is Takedown is a song about like hatred. It is a song about like you're bad and we hate you. It basically is the punchline of the song if you're
Right.
going to sum it up in a couple words.
Right.
And they can't figure out why it's not clicking. Why is it not? It's because they're embracing the way of like hatred.
Yes.
They're embracing this that is how they're trying to fight, and they keep marveling at like, why is this barrier still getting weaker? Why can't we pull back? The Saja Boys are gaining, which is this demon band is called the Saja Boys. They're gaining ground. There's more and more holes in the barrier. There are bigger and bigger holes. More and more people are disappearing from these attacks that we can't keep up with all of them, and they don't understand why. And ultimately, it's that I think is this decision to lean into, we hate you and you're our enemy and we're going to kill you, as opposed to leaning into what makes them strong. And it's kind of established at the beginning. It's the connection between the hunters,
yes,
that have always made their voices strong together and to be able to defeat the forces of darkness. It's their harmony, their teamwork, their sisterhood.
Exactly.
Is ultimately what gives them the power to hold this back.
That's a really salient point, and I was going to miss it. So that's good call on your part there. And I agree with all of this. Like, Takedown is so pivotal and so interesting in the way that they put it together. And it's also really obvious to the audience that, oh, it's because they're going the wrong way, but it's not obvious to them. And I like how they did that as well. They seem to communicate that well. Well, coming up to the end,
they slowly kind of come to realize that. It just takes a little while.
Yeah. So there's this opportunity for a big showdown and a twist. And I'm actually going to skip by those things, if you don't mind, partly for time and partly to preserve
of course,
the mystique of what actually occurs, because us telling you the ending, I think the ending is not going to be surprising to people, but how it happens is interesting. But the last song that the Saja Boys perform is called Idol. And I wanted to call attention to just a little bit of Idol here. You know, I'm the only one who will love your sins. Feel the way my voice gets underneath your skin. Living in your mind now, too late. You're mine now. I will make you free when you're all part of me.
I actually had some comments on that previously that I had posted up. The song seems to me to be like Gima, like from his perspective, just because he's saying it would make you a part of me, not us.
Yep.
He's about him consuming all these things. But like, I think one of the things lyrically, you're talking about some of the lyrics at the beginning of the song, they start out singing, "Don't you want me to save you?" And then the last reprise of the chorus, that line turns into "No one is coming to save you."
Mm-hmm.
And I love that. In music, it's a very small niche kind of concept, but the idea of like a song that someone is singing that they are presenting themselves as an ally in the beginning of the song, and then it turns out that they are not your ally. They turn on you at the end.
Yeah.
And I think that it's interesting because the way music draws you in, and then you're suddenly like you feel when that line, like when they get to the end of that song, it's like, oh my gosh, like this is getting really blatant. The band is now appearing to the audience in their full demon glory. They have all the paraphernalia. Their skin is showing their patterns. They have yellow eyes, like
they don't even need to
claws for
hide
hands.
it. Yeah.
Like they're no longer even hiding. Everyone is just this enamored of them at this point. The power of their voice, the power of their message
Mm-hmm.
is winning them over so much that they don't even have to. They can just be upfront.
They've captured so much attention.
Essentially.
Yeah, they've captured so much attention that there's no need to conceal. There's no need to hide what they truly are anymore. And I agree with you. This is Gima's voice, right? Because it's not, I'm the only one who will love you despite your sins. That's not what he says. I'm the only one who will love your sins. He doesn't love you. He loves your sins, right? Mm-hmm. That's, it's kind of fascinating and interesting. In the end, there is a victory of Huntrix.
Well,
and they push back.
I want to touch on one more lyric, if that's okay.
Go ahead.
Because you said you're talking about the importance of attention in this. And
yes.
There's a line that is cut from the film that is in the soundtrack version.
Mm-hmm,
they cut about a minute of the song from the soundtrack for the film, and it says, "Your obsession feeds our connection. Give me all your attention."
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's in. I don't know exactly what the word is, but that's how it sounds. But it's back to give me your focus, give me your attention. Give me through giving me your attention, you are giving me power into your.
Correct. Yeah. Mind. Well, and the name of the song, which is Idol, and you're worshiping idols, right? It's
this is your idol, actually.
Yeah, there's a lot of your idol, right? There's a lot of interesting symbolism here. So, well, anyway, so
that song's a jam, man. I love that song.
It's well done. So I guess in terms of how the ending wraps up, I'm not an enormous fan of the ending. They leave a lot of open room for interpretation in the ending. There's some clarity there, but in terms of the who or what, it's easy to see yourself in the ending, and that's on purpose, I think. And we've talked about this a little bit. I don't want to subvert what you're going to say, so I'd say go for it. If you have
about the ending,
yeah.
Well, I don't know how much you want to give away of the ending. Obviously, they are successful in restraining the demon.
Yeah, I'm talking about the overall theme, right? So I guess the overall theme of the movie, I'll take this and run with it. The overall theme of the themes of the movie are related to guilt and shame and how they can control us, companionship and trust, between the Huntrix group, and then stepping into your true self. And so some would call this a coming out story, and some would call this an integration story, and some would call this kind of a fullness story. So if it's a coming out story, hey, this is how I am, this is who I am, I'm good enough and I'm going to be proud of it. That's one sort of thing. The integration story is a very Jungian, I have light and darkness in my soul, and I have to figure out how to put those together and figure out how to live out the fact that I'm a complete human being and I'm not just one thing.
Mhm.
And those are two.
That's what I would lean towards personally, but
Mhm.
I understand people who take a different approach.
Yeah, there are two vastly different conclusions there. And then you also have the more simple interpretation, which is I have been concealing something about myself that I can't control and deceiving my closest friends, and I'm not going to deceive them anymore. I'm just going to let them
Right.
know this is who I am. And that's, some people would say, well, that you're painting that with a very close brush to the coming out story. But, you know, it is a little bit different because one is focused on yourself, and the other is really focused on
Right.
the people you love, right? It's
Well, and it's
two different things.
I would also point out because the story is more focused on Rumi and her specific set of circumstances,
Yes.
but all three of the girls have their own issues that they're reckoning with and
Hmm.
have to learn to be okay with and learn to be open with about themselves in order to become more mature, more integrated versions of themselves.
Agreed.
They have a lot of baggage. This is something that they touch on very briefly, but I think that they really do have a plan for. Rumi obviously is portrayed as an orphan. She is raised by her mom's friend, according to the story.
Hmm.
Um, Zoe is said to have been raised in partly in South Korea and partly in Burbank, California.
Yep.
She talks in the Golden Song about living two lives, trying to play both sides.
Hmm.
She is a classic keep the peace people pleaser who's afraid of being too much as she is, and also afraid of not being enough and not being worthwhile to people. She it's very classic symptoms of a child of divorce.
Yep.
They do not explicitly say that ever about her, but I do think that that is what her story is that her parents are divorced and living in separate countries, and she was bouncing back and forth between them, trying to find peace and live in both worlds, but found herself unable to feel connected to her Korean identity or her American identity.
Yep.
You hear this a lot with multi-ethnic homes as well. Sometimes I don't really feel black, but I also don't really feel white, or or anything really. I know a girl who was half Japanese and half Chinese who was raised in Korea, and Koreans don't really care much for the Japanese or the Chinese due to long history.
Yes.
Um, so she dealt with a lot of rejection for both parts of her. She also got rejection from the Chinese side of her family for her Japanese side, and the Japanese side of her family for her Chinese side. It was very like Romeo and Juliet within herself in a way of like this two hated rivals. So there's a lot of example of that. This is my point. But and then you have Mira, who it's suggested she's kind of a black sheep in her family.
Correct.
Again, attention to detail thing. When they introduce the character of Mira, they have a photo of her with her family, and her family's faces are blurred out.
Hmm.
In the golden video, they have her sitting in a chair with her family behind her, and their faces are visible.
Yep.
This is because it is a music video, and those are actors playing her family, not her actual family.
Yep.
Which I think is a really interesting, again, attention to detail, minor things.
Yep.
That they really clearly thought through very well.
Right. Well, and it's her line in Golden is called a problem child because I got too wild, but now that I'm getting paid, or that's how I'm getting paid endlessly on stage. Yeah. And so that's her line about, you know,
exactly.
So that's another thing
say
in
to
Golden.
Them, like she understands that she can be abrasive, she can be most like quick to anger, things that probably did not sit well in her family of origin.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's in the song, what it sounds like, which is my favorite of all of them, because I get goosebumps listening to it. I don't know what, like, it's just something about it just gives me like the strong emotional response. And I can dive into that a little bit more, but the Zoe's thing is, why did I cover up the colors stuck inside my head? And Mira's is, why did I cover up my jagged edges?
Mm-hmm.
And so like they both are also coming to a place of acceptance of their full selves.
Exactly.
And recognizing that they are accepted. And there's a line in that song where they say, the song we couldn't write, this is what it sounds like. And there's almost this element of, oh my gosh, that's what this movie has been about this whole time. We thought it was like this other thing, but it's about them finally coming to realize, like, them trying to force, like, we're going to defeat this demon our way with our hatred and our anger towards him. And it really was them coming to a place where they could love themselves and be open with each other and see their true selves to show their true selves to each other, and connect. And it's out of a place of love and connection,
yes,
that they can finally write the song. And they're not even trying. It's just coming to them now.
Right.
When they are finally in their fully integrated selves, it just comes out of them to such a degree that they can sing about, oh my gosh, can you guys believe this? This is the song we've been trying to write this whole time. Like, it's literally like the line, like everything they say just works in the song now. Like they're that harmonized, they're that in tune with each other and connected to this. And they don't explore this very much, but there's kind of this implication of they're not powerful in and of themselves. They are channeling this power. Something about being hunters allows them to, that's how they're able to, like, draw these weapons out of the ether. They are not like, they're like, let's going to form this little barrier. Like, it's a reaction. It reacts to their singing in a similar way to, like, conceptions of the Force in Star Wars. It's like, there's this larger energy, God, power, that they are interacting with and using its power to seal this barrier, but they're not actually generating the barrier themselves. Like, that's what how it seems to me, which I found really interesting, because when they are able to put those thoughts of shame and the doubts out of their minds and free themselves of that and connect, even this much more powerful demon god is no match for them, because as soon as they get to that point, like, he doesn't really put up much of a fight anymore. They're just so powerful in that moment. And there's something about, like, the demon's power isn't real. It's all illusion to some degree, because likewise, Genio has sold his soul to this demon god, who's held it in captive for 400 years. And it turns out he could just have it back. Like, he ends up getting it back because he stopped listening to that voice.
Yes.
That was telling him all these shameful things. And it turns out it was never Gima's to begin with. Like, he can have it. And so, like, that, it's the lie that he had power over Genu this whole time. Correct.
Shame controls us through the lie, through the perpetuation of the lie. Yeah.
Exactly.
It's a really interesting theme. And the way that you explain it is why I like the integration interpretation on the ending more. I like that take more. And I like too that they're investigating, one, Rumi has the obvious physical, flaw, if you will, but the others also have their own things that they're dealing with that are more internal. And that's another thing to remember too, that sometimes the obvious thing isn't worse than the other things that are going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, good. I'm a little over time. I think I got to wrap this up.
I'm sorry about that.
No, don't be sorry. This was a great conversation, and you have a lot to say on this topic. Your knowledge is something I really respect, and it's fun time here. Anyway.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad we had a chance to talk about this. I've been very interested in this movie for several months now, so it's good to be able to have a little bit of an outlet to talk about some of these things.
Yeah. Well, hey, we are becoming our age. Don't be controlled by shame, but I might guilt you a little bit into liking, subscribing, or leaving a comment for us. and tell us that we're wrong, tell us that we're right. Check out our other stuff.